Greetings. So last week, some people called me and asked, like, "Hey, what happened with Bitcoin in the marketplace?" And my temptation was to say, what everything else happened. Like people got stuck in this crazy Japanese carry trade and just dumped all their Bitcoin. So then I thought, well, okay, we don't predict the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin in our hedge fund is for people like me who really like the asset and want to make some extra income on it and reduce volatility. But that said, I was sort of curious. So, using a combination of ChatGPT and the correlation function in Excel, I did some very high level mathematical calculations. And what happened was this: over the last year, Bitcoin, the S&P 500, and QQQ, the Nasdaq, are basically uncorrelated, which really surprised me. They have a mild negative correlation. Now, what's not surprising is that the Nasdaq index, QQQ, and SPY for the S&P 500 are highly correlated, but I think that's because they all have these mega cap stocks like Amazon or Microsoft or Apple on them. So, but then what happened last week, and I'll show you a chart on this, is kind of interesting. The Bitcoin dove, and as did the Nasdaq and S&P. And I think what happened is that they're just becoming more and more like normal stocks. So, is Bitcoin a normal stock? Well, 5% of the circulation is. It's with these big ETFs by BlackRock and people like that. And so those ETFs have about 50 billion, and then the whole market cap of Bitcoin is 1.1 trillion. So is 5% a huge amount? Not really, except those are Wall Street traders. They borrow huge multiples of money from the same people who borrowed to do this Japanese carry trade. And they actually trade the stock, whereas or trade the asset through the stock, whereas people who've been saving on their thumb drive and have their own key or lost it or burned it, like they're not really trading it. Consider Bitcoin this crazy volatile asset, and I trade in the options for it. So I see an implied volatility sometimes like 60, 70%. But the truth of the matter is the realized volatility, how volatile was Bitcoin over the last year, was only about 45%. So anyway, things are changing. It's becoming more normal. To date, like they do have like a negative correlation, Bitcoin does, on a daily or even yearly volume with stocks. But that's going to change as it is already.